up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel. Today, I am going to be reacting to a video that one of my subscribers sent me. Before I start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. That way you're going to be notified of my daily videos. This video apparently is from like the MGTOW group, which is men going their own way. So it's to like explain that a little bit more. He felt like I had some misconceptions, that like some stuff I maybe got wrong. So I'm always here to educate and learn, so I'm excited to see this. Also, DM me on Instagram, JustPearlyThings. If you guys have any, videos that you think would be good for me to react to.
Welcome to the dojo, the series where I'll teach you the MGTOW skills necessary to identify and protect yourself from gynocentric and feminist threats. While I already had plans to discuss this issue, a Patreon member provided me the motivation to address this subject sooner rather than later. With that in mind, it's time for your first lesson. Many people believe that the reason married men get taken advantage of by women is because they quote-unquote chose the wrong woman.
I hear this all the time. It's always like, what type of women are you talking to? Like, not all women are like that. Like, that's always the first response.
However, a fair number of blue-pilled men also blame and shame these men for allowing themselves to be divorce raped or otherwise victimized.
Yeah, Hafiz did that during the interview I did with him.
Some even go so far as to say that the targeted man had it coming. As more and more men take the red pill and start perceiving a woman's hypergamy and female nature for what they truly are, they're starting to avoid marriage. On September 14th, 2017, the Pew Research Center published a report entitled, "As U.S. Marriage Rates Hover at 50%, Education Gap in Marital Status Widens." While this article is focused on marriage as it relates to education, they disclose a very important fact. Half of U.S. adults today are married, a share that has remained relatively stable in recent years, but is down 9 percentage points over the last quarter century and dramatically different from the peak of 72% in 1960, according to new release census data. In 1960, before the rise of feminism, 72%, or almost 3/4 of American adults, were married. Today, that number has dropped to 50%. This represents a 33% decrease in marriage thanks to feminism's war on marriage. A month later, in October 2017, the Pew Research Center published the report, "The share of Americans living without a partner has increased, especially among young adults." In it, they state, "The share of young adults who are unpartnered has increased across the young and the middle-aged, but the rise has been most pronounced among young adults. Roughly 6 in 10 adults younger than 35 years old, 61%, are now living without a partner."
Oh, wow. So 61% are living without a spouse or partner under 35. Wow, I didn't realize it was that high. I knew like the marital rates like that I'd heard, but I hadn't heard as much about living alone.
Thus, since second-wave feminism's war on marriage began in the 1960s, one of the long-term consequences is that not only has the marriage rate dropped by 33%, but 6 in 10 unmarried adults under 35 are refusing to live with their girlfriends and boyfriends. This is one of the reasons that I always say that feminism destroyed the social contract between men and women. With that in mind, lots of men, especially PUAs, tradcons, and other red pill bros, think that avoiding marriage by itself is the solution to avoid having their assets stolen, reputation destroyed, and otherwise be divorce raped. Once feminism realized that men were starting to protect themselves from divorce rape by avoiding marriage, they worked to change the laws around the world to persecute single men as well. Today in Australia, a man doesn't have to be married to get divorce rape. The Family Court of Australia stated on May 3rd, 2016, a de facto relationship is defined in Section 4AA of the Family Law Act of 1975. The law requires that you and your former partner, who may be of the same or opposite sex, had a relationship as a couple living together on a genuine domestic basis.
Wow, so even if a guy doesn't want to get married, you hear that, Blessing? Even if a guy doesn't want to get married, if he lives with the girl, she can still pursue him in court. That is crazy. That's crazy.
Further, ABC News Australia interviewed Rachel Sharer, the founder of DivorceAnswer.com, in June 2017, and she said, "There's no timeline and there's no minimum time period. As long as you and your partner considered yourself in a considered or committed relationship."
What? So you could live with a girl for 2 months? 3 months?
As long as other people recognize that, then you're in a de facto relationship. Even more frightening, she stated, there's a relationship called de facto by distance, which means that even though you may not be living together exclusively and full-time, as long as you stay in each other's house or home when you're in each other's local space, then you're definitely considered in a de facto relationship. Thus, in Australia, even if she doesn't live with you full-time and she just stays the night, or she just leaves her shit in your home, she can divorce rape you.
Blessing. Yeah, so if she leaves her shit in your apartment, she can divorce you. That's crazy. Imagine being served with paper.
Wait, so she can take half?
We're going to find out.
Okay.
Let's see.
United States, multiple states have adopted common law marriage laws. In a very basic sense, they're laws that state that if you and your girlfriend live together for a certain period of time, then you're considered married and can be divorce raped. According to the National Conference of State Legislatures, the states that still have common law marriage are Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Utah. While Washington state doesn't have common law marriage laws, they do recognize meretricious relationships. DivorceNet, a website published by Nolo, describes these relationships as follows. The term meretricious has been historically used to label the cohabitation of unmarried couples. When a cohabitation ends, the couple will usually face the same issues that arise in the divorce. The most common include the following: division of assets and property, paying debts, and determining child custody and child support. Thus, not only can an unmarried man get divorce raped in states that recognize common law marriages, but in Washington state, they can get divorce raped under their meretricious relationship laws.
It's a good thing we're moving to Tennessee or Florida.
Yeah, thank God.
However, even worse than these feminist laws created to divorce rape unmarried men are the feminist-sponsored domestic violence laws. In 1980, the feminists created the Duluth model of domestic violence intervention. Today, it's the most commonly used domestic violence program in the world. In the United States, over 30 states mandate its use. However, even in places that don't use it, they still pattern their DV laws on it. Why is this important? It's because the Duluth model created the world's first civil domestic violence restraining order. Thus, a woman can accuse you of rape, domestic violence, or sexual abuse in a civil court without your knowledge and obtain an order to divorce rape you.
I need to understand what they said. So she can accuse you of assault or domestic violence without you knowing?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Okay.
This is true even in states that don't recognize common law marriage. Also, I've heard of these types of civil court orders being entered in the UK, Canada, Australia, and other Western countries that have adopted feminist policies. Let me break it down further.
I think basically it means you don't, she can... Oh, wait, I think I understand. So she can go to court and basically say you were abusing her and not actually take you to court for the abuse. And so she can divorce you or divorce rape you on the grounds of abuse without you actually being found guilty of abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What follows are snapshots taken of Washington State's civil domestic violence restraining order request pattern forms. While other state and international jurisdictions' forms may differ, they're all patterned after the Duluth model format and were created to divorce rape unmarried men. In the first picture, a woman can tell the court that you live together and request the court have the police evict you from your home without notice, giving her sole possession and leaving you homeless. Further,
What? Wait, so basically, I think I'm understanding. So she can go to the court, say that you abused her, and then kick you out of your house without any proof that, actually going to court for the abuse.
request the court have the police help her steal your separate property and your car. Thus, she can lawfully steal anything of value you own. Also, she can request the court to order you into counseling, mental health services, or drug rehab.
That's what they did to Kanye.
Free Kanye.
In addition to holding you responsible for any fees and costs associated with her attempt to divorce rape you. Even worse, she can request the court to order you to surrender your lawfully owned firearms and bar you from your Second Amendment right to own a firearm, as well as revoke your lawfully obtained concealed carry permit. So how common are civil domestic violence restraining orders granted in the United States? Well, in 2011, SafeServices.org issued a 12-page special report entitled The Use and Abuse of Domestic Violence Restraining Orders. In it, they state on page 7, one analysis compiled data on final restraining orders mostly in 2002 from 29 state court systems and found that the rates varied widely across the states. On average, the analysis revealed that 342 final restraining orders were issued per 100,000 persons. When extrapolated to the entire U.S. population, an estimated of 860,000 final orders were granted. Now remember, this is per year. That calculation parallels data from the FBI National Crime Information Center, NCIC, which includes a national registry of restraining orders. Each year, 600,000 to 700,000 permanent orders are entered into the registry. However, 8 states do not participate in the NCIC registry, and many other states have incomplete coverage. For example, in Texas, 25 counties do not report. In California, 17 counties do not have a reliable procedure to enter orders into their database. Given the trend of increasing numbers of restraining orders, the best estimate of final restraining orders now issued each year is 900,000. That's right. As of 2011, almost 1 million civil DV restraining orders are granted each year in the U.S. alone.
And civil DV restraining orders, from what, if I'm understanding it right, don't actually require them to go to court for it, because they can press charge, because they said they could press charges without the guy even knowing. And how would you go to court for something? So basically they can accuse him of something. He could be like basically found guilty and have all these consequences where they can take his home, his car, everything under the guise that he was abusive and she could be lying. Wow. And it could just be from living with a girl for a couple of months. So she could just leave her stuff.
And those only represent the permanent orders. They don't include the temporary orders like the initial 14.
So there's 1 million a year that are temporary orders.
Nor do they include the orders that actually have set expiration dates. In other words, the 1-year restraining orders or the 5-year restraining orders that many jurisdictions issue prior to issuing the permit.
If a girl does it, oh my God. If you did this and you were not actually hell, you deserve to go to hell, I swear to God.
Restraining order. The question that begs to be asked is, since the Civil Domestic Violence Protection Order system was implemented by feminists in the early 1980s, how many millions of men around the world have had their lives destroyed through false accusations without ever being charged with a crime?
Crazy.
So
What?
let's recap. A woman can get a Civil Domestic Violence Protection Order without any notice to you and have you immediately and forcibly evicted from your home. She can steal your car. She can steal your possessions. She can force you to pay for all the costs associated with her actions. And remember, she can do this in civil court without ever needing to file a police report or have you criminally charged or convicted for a crime.
What?
Worse, if you attempt to do anything to stop her, you'll be arrested and charged for a crime for violating her protection order. If you got evicted from your home and had your car stolen, as a homeless person without transportation, how long could you keep your job? More importantly, how long would you survive on the streets? With that in mind, what's the takeaway? It's pretty simple. Like I said earlier, feminism destroyed the social contract between men and women. The best way to protect yourself from being divorce raped as an unmarried man is to avoid committing, cohabitating, or marrying any woman. Sadly, even casually dating a woman can get you divorce raped in any country that advocates feminism through the Civil Domestic Violence Restraining Order system. Until things change, the best solution remains going MGTOW and avoiding women as much as possible. This concludes today's lesson from the MGTOW Dojo.
And so that's why that makes a lot of sense, because we talk a lot about abuse and a lot of girls will claim abuse. But a question to ask, if I say, did you go to court for it? I'll say, was it civil or did you file a police report? Because if they go to civil court, we don't even know if that's true because they didn't even press charges against him. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Is there any more to this?
If you enjoyed this video,
or just that? Wow, I did not know that. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of times people come at, when they say, oh, MGTOW, the men going their own way, like they're not the men we wanted anyway, da 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 da. Like, I've heard that many times. And I feel like when I go into things, like, I want to understand, like, if it's a large group of people, they probably have a reason. And that is a pretty damn good reason. Isn't that crazy, Blessing?
This is insane. New information.
He's like, I got to think about this marriage thing. He's like, I'm not letting anyone leave their stuff. Take your stuff home.
I didn't know that. Someone can just leave their stuff and come and divorce you. What?
Okay, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel, and let me know if there's more that I should know about, you know, anything red pill, MGTOW, whatever, black pill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you next time.